everybody. It's Praxis, and we have our live stream, and I think for that opening went pretty smoothly. It's always by the skin of my teeth putting these things together, but I think we're getting there. We have Amber back tonight, which is awesome.
Hi.
Amber just finished her school, which you're pretty happy about, I'd imagine.
Yes.
Super psyched. It was awful. It was really awful. Yeah, but she's doing great. She's in honors and everything, and it's all awesome. So, welcome to everyone that's here. We usually have a couple dozen people come to the live event itself, and if you're watching this after the fact, welcome. I've noticed that there's kind of like a hardcore cadre of people. It's like about 150 of you, you know who you are, because I'm talking to you, that have been continuing to follow the series. I think you've probably noticed that it's been living down to what I said it was going to be, which was really frustrating, really redundant, really boring. That was what I always set out to create the series as being.
The clip-on mic isn't working.
The clip-on mic isn't working. Should be. Yeah, I see audio. Let's
We are on the webcam mic.
We are on the webcam mic. Why? Is that just one person saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. If anyone else has issues with the microphone, let me know. But if this
Someone else just said the mic is off.
someone else said the mic is off. Okay. Well.
How do we fix it?
Let me know. Can you hear this? Or can you hear this? This option 1, option 2. We're going to track it down because I am registering. Wait, if they can't hear it, they wouldn't have seen me.
No tap.
No tap. Neither tap? Oh, this is awful. The computer mic is something. I don't know. Well,
There's always a problem when we have a live stream.
That is, yeah. Ugh.
Amber sounds good. Praxis mic is off. Heard both. Heard both is in. We have a mic up here and one clipped onto you.
Okay. I'm hoping that this is a little bit better. It's a little bit difficult for me because the camera.
But it's not as clear as the clip-on. Should be option 2.
Okay, cool. Well, we're going to go with the boom mic overhead. It's a little strange because the camera is picking up all the mic sounds. It sees the taps. It's also seeing this, and the computer is also registering it. So I don't know what the F is going on with you people, but I'm just going to humor you, and we'll go with the boom mic here. You know, I haven't brought this in ever before. Can you see it? It's got eyeballs on it. There we go. They're little golf balls. I used to use that when I did this stuff professionally, and I like to distract the people on camera by having the microphone stare at them. Okay, so that was a long-winded. Actually, yeah, we only blew about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, cool. Well, let's jump in now that you can finally hear me. I don't really even like the feel of these, although I'm not 100% certain that nobody's hearing that mic, so I'm going to leave that on. So yes, there is a hardcore cadre of people, about 150 of you, who have been watching through all of the kind of boredom and repetitive nature of the whole thing. And I think that that is exactly what this series is supposed to be, and you guys are exactly who I'm making it for. The fact that you're still watching it and that you're still engaged in it means that you have, I would say, a pretty decent likelihood of actually wanting to do this someday, because otherwise, why would you be exposing yourself to this ridiculous, boring series? I hope that you're still finding it engaging and useful. Again, the fact that you're still here suggests that that might be the case, or maybe it's like sadistic. You just like to watch me suffer through the whole process. But whatever it is, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me, and I'm making this series for you. I've got about 9,000 subs right now, but you 150, you right there, you are who I'm making this series for, because this endeavor of making your own homestead is, I think, is just one of the greatest things that someone can do with their life. Kids are great too. It's really fulfilling. It's a great feeling to be able to create your own space like every other animal species on the world pretty much does. I know turtles have their home on their back, but all the other animals, that's part of our existence, is the idea of having the capability of making your own home. And it's really life fulfilling, I think, doing something like that. By the way, kids are probably slightly better than the whole the whole house building thing, but it's really up there. And if you guys end up doing this for yourself, I think that you're going to share in that kind of a feeling of like, man, you know, I did this thing that everyone around you is going to say is crazy, you can't do, and you're going to make it happen if you have the determination to follow through with this. So before we jump in, I wanted to make sure I thanked a few people. I have Robert and Jason who've jumped on over at Patreon and are helping me to keep this channel going, helping me to, you know, put in all the time that it takes to do these things. These 360 videos are bears. There's so much processing time and everything, and I just would not do it if you guys weren't stepping up to the plate to do that. I'm wearing my I keep wanting to call it my super fun shirt. It's super chat shirt. So Patreon is a way that people help me to support this channel. Also, super chats are like this live stream thing where people can throw cash at me to help me keep doing this kind of stuff. If you want to jump on board and do it that way, I have the super chat shirt, although I haven't worn it since like the first episode, so the smell in here is suggesting it's getting close to being a super fun shirt. But you jump on and you get added somewhere to the craziness of the shirt, and I do take requests about where it gets put. So yeah. The nipples are already kind of occupied. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a catch up on kind of what's going on in the actual events. Amber's going to be reading you guys' comments and everything. If you have a question, make sure you jump in. And the questions, I'm going to primarily focus on any questions that have to do with homestead building, retreat building, different technologies, solar, gray water, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, if you have any kind of a question at all, if I can fit it in, I'd be happy to answer any questions whatsoever. And Amber will be feeding me all of that kind of stuff. So what's going on in the real world of what's happening on our build project right now? The series as it gets released, we're around day 40 now in the series is being released. And the actual date count is a day about 100 right now. So I gave myself some padding in there. Like you're seeing, like in the series, it's starting to get like it's in the middle of winter and everything. I think around day 43, I actually say I'm recording this in January. So if there was any confusion over whether like it's actually... Okay, someone's got a question. So anyway, there is a time delay, and Amber will be telling me what the question is, and then I can catch you up on what's going on in the real world. But it's been a roller coaster ride. Like there are weeks and weeks left of craziness, but we are getting really close to some awesomeness. What you got to be snappy with these. 2D
says. So I have a question. You have a wood stove, so do I. Do you burn fresh cut green wood? Or do you have to
season it? Yeah, right. Drying it. Yeah. Okay.
In the process of making an axe, like I said, from Dublin.
Oh, okay. So my fellow Irishman has a question about burning wood. I love my wood stove. While I was saving up for the first homestead, I was living in a trailer, which it's not as glamorous as the movie stars all make it out to be. Like the summers were great. It was like being on vacation. The spring and the fall were even great. But trailers are not meant to be lived through in the winter. And that instilled in me the idea of like living off of like a little squirrel cage heater that can break. And there was some February where I was out there trying to fix, like the ball bearings had broken and I was trying to change something out. And the way like when your skin is dry and you're near sharp stuff, my hands were weeping blood trying to fix the heater on this thing. After that experience, and that was a great experience because whenever you go through something difficult, my brain at least is always thinking, how can I make sure that never happens again? So I was so critical that happened for me before I built the first homestead. And I was just, I want a heater that pretty much has no moving parts. You can burn whatever in it, and it's going to give you heat, and it doesn't matter if you have electricity, it doesn't matter like if the blower's working because it doesn't even have a blower. So I love wood stove heat. I use a Vermont Castings wood stove. It's the Encore. It's from what I've seen, all the Vermont Casting stoves are great. There's lots of other great stoves too. It's just Vermont's from New England, and we love Vermont here. And can you hold the thought and I'll finish mine? Okay. You're the buffer. You're the clipboard on the computer. So yes, I love wood heat. I've been using it for a long time, and I've burned seasoned dry wood. That works great. You can also burn green wood. People are going to say that you shouldn't do it, and ideally, no, you shouldn't do it. But if all you have available to you is green wood, it's going to burn better than no wood at all. But there are downsides associated with that. If you're burning green wood, especially depending on what kinds of wood it may be, if it's like some kind of a pine or something, you could be, getting a lot more creosote in your chimney. You risk chimney fires and things. So if you're burning green wood, you have to make sure you're cleaning your chimney more regularly and watch out for that kind of thing. But this is actually really pertinent to what's going on here at this house here that we're at temporarily. I just grabbed wood from the landscape. They had a bunch of like old rotting logs and things, and rotting wood will burn too. You dry it out, it's like it's gonna burn, and it burns hot. It's not as good as if it wasn't rotting, but it still burns. And last winter, we put a lot of stuff in there that was, not as seasoned as maybe you would want it to be, but it still worked. You mixed it in. You had a couple ones that are a little drier, and then once you get the thing hot, you put in some of the damper ones, and you just clean the chimney. So it can work. It's not ideal, but in a pinch, something's always better than nothing. I hope that answers your question. What else do we have?
I thought there was another question, but I misread. It was just a comment.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I will catch you up on what's going on right now. There is concrete on site. We have walls going up, and we have, the foam is starting to go around. We're having deliveries not show up now, deliveries of materials. Home Depot has stood me up 3 or 4 times, I think. It's actually an interesting story about Home Depot. That's a local hardware store, lumber store in the area. I think it's nationwide here. I was so lucky that they broke my delivery up into 2 parts. The first part showed up fine, and the second part has had excuse after excuse. And one of them was that the location is not accessible. Our trucks can't get there. And it was just so nice to be able to say, well, the first driver that showed up this morning didn't seem to have any problem at all. So, we're getting into that kind of stuff. But these are like the problems I like, because these are the problems that are associated with things actually happening. Materials are already there, and there's a kinetic energy happening on the site right now. So it's good. Things are finally starting to move forward, and we are, at this point, just about done with all the site work. I think that in the series, I've mentioned a couple of times that some of the contractors have had issues showing up. I mean, that's been kind of a thing going on in the series. It's like contractors showing up, and a lot of the contractors had been telling me that their parents had fallen ill, and in fact, so many contractors have told me that their parents were ill that I was starting to wonder whether it was that's like parlance for like, I'm busy, but I don't want to give you an excuse that you're not going to like, so I'm going to say my parents are ill, because who's going to argue with that? It's like if your parents are ill. But at least one person actually had ill parents, because one of his parents died this week. So I mean, obviously that's terrible, and our house being built is not the priority at that point. I told the guy, just do what you got to do, and when you're ready to come back. Although for me personally, it's like if my parent died, I think I would probably want to just kind of keep doing what I'm doing and working and stuff, just to kind of keep my mind off of it. But I told him, just do what you got to do, and when you're ready, you can come back. I think he's going to be popping back. But yeah, there's been lots of craziness. In fact, that experience kind of got me thinking in my head about I don't know the way that you are, but whenever I am near someone that's has someone close to them who's died in their family, I've never had any anyone super close to me die in my family. I always feel a little uncomfortable, but you can only say sorry so many times, and it's I don't really have the language to really say anything that's relevant to me. I mean, honest to God, what can I do that's going to make anyone else feel better or anything like that? And it made me think about in a crisis situation, in a collapse situation where, it's very likely people will have, loved ones either missing or dead. And you got to get stuff done that's maybe more important than putting the house together. That's something to think about. I mean, maybe you should do a whole video, about that, about dealing with people who are going through crisis and loss and trauma, while also, but we got to do this stuff, or we're gonna die too. And it just kind of put that into my mind that it's I don't feel like I have the skill set to, to effectively work with people in a way that's both compassionate and effective, for moving forward. So anyway, that popped in my head today. The past couple of days when dealing with that. Do we have something?
We have questions from a couple different people.
Okay.
The first one is,
Couple different questions.
Would it be more efficient to dig the root cellar or fallout shelter now when the heavy equipment is already on the property?
Okay, yes. The question is about whether I should be doing the fallout shelter root cellar right now, or whether I kind of kick that down the road and like, geez, this house is a big enough project as it is, just deal with that, and then you can do the root cellar later. I'm going to answer that in the form of what my thinking process on it is right now, because I'm a little cloudy on that myself, and I'll run through the pros and cons, and like, you know, depending on what your situation would be, you know, you might make a different call on that. Yeah, I mean, you got the equipment on site, you know, especially you got a concrete truck, they got all the forms there, it's all ready to go. Yeah, it would make a lot of sense. For our situation though, it's a little tricky because the house is in front, like the area where you drive into is here, the house is here, and the root cellar is going to be back here, and there's not really a great way of getting around it. There's a bunch of debris back there. And I'm kind of thinking about that, about like whether I want to do that, or like should I just do it myself, or what? And yeah, I mean it's kind of it's a difficult call. I mean, and like financially on top of that, I haven't even gotten a budget on the root cellar yet. I could do it pretty inexpensively myself. I think I'm leaning towards this. This is what I'm leaning towards, is that I do want to prioritize the house now. I'm not made of money, so I want to focus on that. But what I'm going to do, because one of the great reasons for putting in the root cellar now is because I'm going to have to fill that area. It's going to be behind the house in the area we're going to be filling up with clean fill. So I'm going to have to like buy clean fill for that area anyway. So it's like, you know, why not save that money on clean fill and just put the root cellar in now? What I think I'm going to do is have them kind of fill up to the back of the house and put like, I don't want to use up any of my nice boulders, but we've got a lot of logs, and have them kind of stack logs as something to hold the slope, have kind of a steep slope. So house is over here, steep slope with the fill in here, and then have the plan of putting in the root cellar, either myself or hiring them later, but keep that area free and open and workable. And then once the root cellar is in, I can just dump all the fill over here. And these logs that I throw in here, doesn't matter whether they rot, like, because they'll last for, you know, maybe 5 or 10 years or so before they really fall apart. So as long as I do it before they rot out, I think I'm all good. I think that's what I'm going to do. But it is difficult when you got so many different plate spinning, like kind of trying to prioritize, well, which one am I going to do, this first or that first, or should I just focus on this? It's a really good question. But that's what I'm thinking about doing, is just trying to keep that area as open as I can, and then I'm going to address it as soon as I can get into the house, because then I don't have to drive to the work site. I can just walk out my back door. What's the next question?
Let's see. When you have your homestead build, will you have security, like non-weaponry security, thorn bushes, etc.?
Yeah, there are a lot of great videos out there. In fact, Ethical Preparedness does a great series on that. He just did one recently about different types of things that you could put in there. And yeah, absolutely, I'm going to do that kind of stuff on there. In fact, just last night I was thinking, you could put a little what do you got, like a pillbox right on top of like the peak behind the house. Yeah, I think a lot of people think about defending their house if there was a collapse or something like that. I think a lot of people have it in the mindset that if I want to defend my house, I have to make my house a castle, and so your walls should be like several feet thick of concrete and everything. I'm not building that kind of a house. The majority of the house, a rifle could shoot right through. I mean, there's glass to bring in light to warm the place. The walls are foam and wood. There is going to be some stonework, I think, on some of the greenhouse surfaces that I guess would be kind of projectile blocking. But I don't think about it in that way, that things go crazy and it's like you all run back to the house. It's not like a keep in a castle. The way that I think about it is that your best defense is having good communication with your community, working with the people in your surrounding area, and not defending your house at least defending it from your mailbox, but not the idea that you're going to make it like an impenetrable little like what do they call them? Safe room? Panic room? Like that kind of, not make your entire house this impenetrable panic room. It's really difficult, it's really expensive, and honestly, who would want to live in their panic room? It's that's like a worst case scenario practically all by itself right there. So that's our plan, is to kind of have some of those kinds of things to kind of dissuade people. But if you have someone that's determined, you're going to have to deal with that one way or the other. And if you just button yourself up in your house anyway, sieges are very effective. So, even if you did make this little fortress that you could hide inside of, you're going to get starved out of it, at some point anyway, very, very easily if the adversary is like that. So the most effective way to defend yourself is by working with your community and making your entire community safer. That's my approach to it anyway. But thorn bushes are also pretty awesome. And why not throw in some poison ivy there? Because it's kind of like, they're scratch and then they run off and you're like, I don't know if I can do a middle finger raised on YouTube if that's cool or whatever, but you can imagine what I'm doing. I'm like, see you later, guys. Enjoy the butt rash. Yeah, enjoy the butt rash. All right, what's the next question?
Do you have a P.O. box? I'd like to gift you some seeds if you're interested.
Oh, I would love to receive seeds. We haven't really set that up yet. Hit me up at my Praxis at, praxisprepper@gmail.com address, and I would love to correspond with you on that. I love seeds, and it's always great to give seeds away to people too. Not only is it it's a generous act giving away seeds to different people, but additionally, it's kind of a way of saving your own seeds, because if anything ever happened to your seeds, in fact, this happened to me. I had a really awesome heirloom tomato, and they just all died in my garden. It was like one of those summers where ain't nobody got time for gardening that summer. They all died. I didn't keep any seeds, but I'd given some away. And I was very easily able to hit that person up for hey, you still got any of those seeds? You still growing those? And they were. So I got them back. So it's a great way of just diversifying and putting all your eggs in lots of baskets, and then you can always ask for some of those eggs back. So yeah, I love seeds. I love gardening, and that's very generous of you. Thank you very much. What else we got?
Are you going to collect water off the roof?
Yes, we're going to be doing rooftop water collection. There's several roof surfaces. The structure has it's a cape style home, so it's got two roofs, a south and a north side roof, and then there's an east and a west side roof off the greenhouse. I think the north side roof is going to be the main one that we're going to collect from, because that's going to be on the elevated side, so we'll have our rain barrels behind the house, so they'll just go right down. It'll also be easy to clean a gutter up there, because around here there's always leaves and stuff getting in there. And I know that there's different devices for keeping junk out of your gutters. In fact, I've done marketing. I've done some commercials for some of those companies back when I did a lot of commercial stuff. And they can work really well. Some of them work better than others. A lot of those are awfully expensive. So my approach is it's easy to just kind of once a year, just clean the gutter out and then you're done with it. So I'm going to be doing that, but I'm just going to be doing it on the one roof that is easy to get at. I might do the greenhouse roofs as well, because they're going to be pretty low. But yeah, certainly we're going to be making sure that we are collecting. And the reason that we're able to collect it and use it for stuff is that we're not going to do an asphalt shingle roof. We're going to be doing a steel roof, so the water coming off isn't going to have been marinating in asphalt or anything. So that water is going to be perfectly good for the garden, and honestly, I mean, even for drinking. Although I'm hoping we've got really good well water there. We had a not too deep well. It was only under 200 feet, so it should be pretty good water over there. Do you have anything else?
Somebody just popped in, the High Desert Pioneer.
Oh, High Desert Pioneer. Hi. Is there a question associated with that, or is it just a general announcement?
Okay, we don't have any more questions at the moment.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got about 5 minutes left, 7 minutes maybe, although for me, I can turn 5 into 7 pretty easily generally. So what's going to be coming up in the series that you guys are going to be seeing soon? Before I do that, are there any news or announcements? I thought there was something I wanted to mention.
Do you have it up in your notes?
Oh, yeah. You guys might have seen the video announcing tonight's video. It's the one that went out at 4:30, which why were there only, at this point there was only 2 comments on that. That's a provocative video. You haven't seen it yet. She hasn't seen the video yet. It's a provocative video. I thought there were going to be more comments on that. I just, I put myself out there, and I was waiting for some general criticism of that one. So where's the hate, yo? Although there were a couple thumbs down on it, so I guess. I know people writing things, you're just laughing at me.
How do you keep your skin so supple and baby smooth?
Well, that is from a general lack of personal hygiene much of the time. You just let your body's natural oils go, flow through you, and it just keeps it nice. And actually, I pretty much only use Dr. Bronner's soap. Dr. Bronner's makes this like liquid Castile soap. I buy it by the gallon, and it is like useful for everything. I use it for dishwashing. I use it for hand washing. You can use it for toothpaste, though it doesn't taste very good, but it's allegedly reasonably effective. And I use that for, actually, I never shampoo my hair. I just use really hot water. Although that only works with short hair, I think. And it's just a wonderful soap. I use it all over the place. But I try to make my skin look really awful on the channel. I try to like up the sharpening filters to make myself look haggard, you know.
The Dr. Bronner's doesn't really work very well with long hair. I find it's kind of damaging, so I have to use like shampoo and conditioner and all that. And
it's for the
if
week.
shit hit the fan, I don't know what I would do. I guess just let my hair oil.
Some people use camel piss. Camel piss is a decent shampoo, I hear.
Where would we get a camel?
Just seed sharing and such. Yeah, so anyway, the video where I was doing, whatever with one of my hands, I did not get the match lit. It is a very difficult technique to get the match lit that way. I would highly recommend that you guys go over to Reed's channel and check that out, because he did it like on that first try. Well, it wasn't his, it was his first try on camera. But it's something worth doing, because you can light a match just with this technique, and he did it, and I trusted he did it. Like he didn't do special effects or whatever. It's an actual thing. I had trouble with it, but I was not able to do it. But I would definitely recommend checking that out. So, do we have any questions? And if not, I will just give a sense of what's coming up.
What storage capacity will you have?
Okay, yeah. What we had at the last place is I had 5 70-gallon buckets, which works out to 5 times 350. Is that right? I don't know, 350 gallons or so. I think I want a little bit more here, because I found that oftentimes I get a rainstorm and they'd just be overflowing, and I couldn't store all of it, and then I'd kind of piss through it really fast. 350 gallons is a lot for drinking and bathing and all that kind of stuff, but I was mostly using it for watering the garden, and that goes pretty fast. So I was thinking maybe something in the 500-gallon range at least. And the last time I did it, you guys might have seen, like from the last Homestead, I had like this little shed kind of structure, and I had a bunch of cherry barrels. They're these green cherry barrels on there, and they're all kind of plumbed together. This time I was thinking about doing something more as like a single unit, maybe get like a small pool or something like that. Like, that people have, with like a metal side or something, or I might do it with, out of cinder blocks and do like a rubber liner. I haven't really figured that out, but I'm aiming for about 500 gallons is what I'm looking for. What's up?
Have you planted outside already, or is it still too cold? We have snow forecast for next week, so still holding out.
Yeah. Well, we're not doing a garden this year. This year I'm just focusing on just doing the build and everything. But people have started planting around here, although just last week we had enough snow to shovel. So anyone that put beans outside, like the beans were all destroyed. I have nothing to say on gardening this year, because I'm just like, it's just house, get that house in. And, really my most successful garden crops are planted for me. It's just wild edibles. Lamb's quarters out there, nettles out there. I just kind of pick whatever is growing, and that's not a bad way of doing gardening. It's like once you start doing wild edibles, you just see it all over the place. For greens, anyway. I mean, you're not going to find like wild tomatoes in New England, maybe growing out of people's compost. But yeah, I really get most of my garden crops not from my garden necessarily, but just from what's growing around the garden or the weeds that get sown into them. So that's my plan on that. All right, we've got 1 minute left. Just to let you know what's coming up in the season, in the series. There are some more ups and some more downs, but like I said, we are getting closer to a point where we're going to have some real stuff happening. I've been doing some construction of making some of the insulated tubes and everything, and that's all going to be coming up. And right around day 50 is when you really start to have a chance to look for Waldo. And I'm just going to let you know, there's someone in a ghillie suit. Is that how you pronounce it? G-H-I, you know what I mean, like where you look like a Sasquatch made out of like plant swamp thing, whatever. That kind of suit. There's someone in quite a few of the videos. And these are some videos we've already released in a ghillie suit. So let's see if you can find that dude. And I think that's about it. We at 9 o'clock? Yeah, it's about 9 o'clock. All right, any last questions? I can squeeze in a 30-second one. Anything?
No.
No.
But there are no
There's no one even watching anymore. There's no way. What?
There are no wild greens in the desert.
Manna from heaven, dude. Manna from heaven.
What?
I don't know. It's a Bible thing. Can you just tastefully have us go out with the closer? See you next time. Please subscribe and tune in every Friday at 4:30 New York time for a new video. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can do so both through Patreon or PayPal.